Second quarter GDP is out. It dropped the worst ever decline since we've been tracking GDP. Is it time to panic? What should you do? I got that coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I am the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Welcome to this channel. If you are new, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. Second quarter GDP number came out this morning, 8:30 Eastern time. The worst ever drop since we've been recording GDP moves. And that spans, I believe, back to 1940. A negative 32.9% GDP number. The GDP, the actual economic activity in the second quarter shrank by a third. There's no surprise. That's an alarming number, okay? But there's no surprise we put the economy on halt, okay, for 2 months, right? So the economy completely stopped. The expectations for this GDP number were wide. It was, the most optimistic was negative 20 or 25%. The most pessimistic was negative 40, and it came in at negative 32.9. Now, what we talked about before is the Atlanta Federal Reserve Bank came out with a technological way to predict what GDP is happening in real time. They call it GDP Now. We've covered it before. And at one point earlier in the quarter, they had GDP Now at negative 51%. Negative 51%. Now, it ended the quarter at negative 32, negative 33. So that GDP Now calculation was pretty much spot on. So if you're looking at, all right, what do we expect in the economy? I'll talk about this in just a moment. Reference that GDP Now website and that tool that the Atlanta Fed has come out with, because it's proven to be fairly accurate. It's not a prediction of what GDP is going to be at the end of the quarter. It is believed to be a prediction of what's happening real time with GDP, so we're not always lagging. But negative 32.9% in the second quarter. Is it time to panic? No, because that's what happened behind us. The stock market is anticipating what's going to be happening ahead of us. So no need to panic at all. Absolutely not. The big question is, where do we go from here with economic activity? Because that's, of course, what the stock market's trying to anticipate and what it's moving off of. We had a contraction in the first quarter. What was it? Down 5% in the first quarter was GDP, now down 32.9%. So we're officially in recession. You guys knew that. We're going to see a positive number in the third quarter. It will be positive. There's once you hit the floor, there's nowhere else to go but up. That's sort of the situation. As long as the economy doesn't shut down for more than 2 months in this third quarter, which is not going to happen, we should see a positive number in GDP. How positive is the question? How much optimism is Wall Street, is the stock market factoring in and pricing in to stocks these days? A V-shaped recovery, we've been talking about that. There's a lot of talk saying, well, Wall Street's pricing in a V-shaped recovery, and even from every expert is saying there's no way we'll get a V-shaped recovery in the economy. And even Fed chairman yesterday came out and said, listen, this is going to be, we'll do everything that it takes, but it's going to take longer than possible. Here's what concerns me. I'm not concerned about negative 32.9%. You shouldn't be either. Not time to panic. Here's what concerns me. Our president has said, we're not going to do a mass shutdown again. We're not going to. And there's so much controversy and so much emotion on both sides of this. I'd be surprised. It seems like things would need to get a lot worse with the virus. A lot worse for us to do a permanent shutdown. So instead of a permanent shutdown, we have communities making decisions on their own. We got the state of Michigan coming out yesterday saying no gatherings of more than 10 people. Bars are to be closed inside. You can serve people outside. We've got states taking their own and communities taking their own measures to say we're starting to shut down again or we're going to remain open. But we're hearing more and more of these communities saying they're going to start shutting down. Nationally, that's where stimulus comes from. So if we have a shutdown, meaning a local community, that the bars and restaurants in Michigan, now you would expect they're back in the danger zone, if you will, right? Thankfully, we've had unbelievable weather in the Midwest so far, knock on wood somehow. But so if they are able to serve people outside, that's great. But what if your bar or restaurant doesn't have outdoor seating, right? Your restaurant is now forced to be closed again. And if we've got federal stimulus measures that are stopping right now, guys, that is a recipe for disaster. That is a recipe for disaster. Will the HEALS Act get passed? Apparently last night, the rumor I heard is things are stalled completely. Mnuchin, I can't ever say it. You guys, my man Mnuchin and President Trump have said, all right, well, let's just put a real quick deal together to extend unemployment until we get a full stimulus in place. And apparently Democrats said, no deal. We're not even talking about that. So I think it's going to be hard to get a federal stimulus passed anytime soon. I hope I'm wrong, but it's going to be hard to get one passed anytime soon. And we've got states and local governments imposing their own shutdowns. That means federally, no helicopter money, not yet. Federally, no extension and expansion of unemployment benefits, and states hampering down their economies. I know for safety and all of that, so don't get mad at me about that. But the states are imposing their lockdowns. Federally, nothing's happening. So, guys, for the economy, that smells trouble. And if the stock market gets wind of that and starts recognizing that, if this trend continues and the stock market starts seeing that, I think that could be a reason for challenging times ahead. So 2 applications today. 1, how personal is this going to get to you? Do you run a restaurant in Michigan, a bar or restaurant, and now you're wondering, will I be shut down? Do you work at one? And we're picking on bars and restaurants, but it could be anything else, right? Do you work at an event facility? Do you put on events? Do you whatever, right? Recognize that these shutdowns that are starting to happen more on a localized level could impact you financially. So here again, guys, you know this, we're not out of the woods, I don't think. And so make sure you're working with your certified financial planner so you know what steps you need to take now to make sure you've got as strong a financial foundation as possible. If your situation's ugly, don't be embarrassed and don't shy away from it. Talk to a certified financial planner who's a fiduciary who can help you. Okay, that's the first application. Second, just make sure, once again, I feel like it's the message from every video, make sure you've got the right investment approach. Not too speculative, not too conservative, right? Something that's connected to your overall financial plan, and I just strongly believe you've got to have multiple strategies because right now this is just unbelievably uncertain times. So talk to your CFP about that. You don't have a CFP or your CFP doesn't offer an investment approach that has multiple strategies, contact us. We're happy to help. You can find us online, wisemoneyshow.com or corehorn.com. That's Corehorn with a K. Or you can give us a call, 574-247-5898. There you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.